What if the reason you're frustrated right now is because you're succeeding at becoming someone you're not? I think about that for a second. What if the anxiety, the exhaustion, the constant feeling that you're behind isn't because you're failing? What if it's because you spent years trying to build your business like somebody else, lead like somebody else, sell like somebody else, market like someone else, when God never called you to be them in the first place? I've coached thousands of entrepreneurs. One of the most common things that I see is people abandoning their gift in pursuit of someone else's success. Today, I want to talk about why comparison is one of the most expensive habits an entrepreneur can have. Why the moment you stop chasing someone else's assignment, maybe the moment your business finally starts moving. Welcome back to the eForge podcast, where overwhelmed operators become empowered leaders, where we forge businesses, influence, and legacies that last. I'm your host, Cory Long. Today, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my heart for a while. We've been talking about this in my eForge group and in my AI Authority group. Guys, look, as a coach and working with thousands of students, many of them one-on-one or working directly in their businesses, I've seen this in pretty much every business that I've worked in or worked with at this point, even in ministry, where people, if they're being honest, they try to become somebody else. They try to act like somebody else, live like somebody else, look like somebody else, speak like someone else, instead of living within their own giftings, their own things that they've been wired to do. A great example for me personally is I'm definitely wired in a sense of sales, being out front, speaking from stage, being able to build deep relationships fast. Like there are certain things that God has gifted me to be able to do. There's other things that I am horrible at. I do not need to be building websites or doing logos or marketing. As far as building out back end tech stuff, that is not what I do. And when I get stuck in those things, it makes me something that I'm not. When I see people out there, especially right now, when I see these guys out there that are doing AI marketing, AI SEO, AEO, GEO, whatever you want to call it, there's a bazillion names for it. Basically, it's just ranking across Google and all of AI. I see these guys doing it all kinds of different ways, and many of them have backgrounds in coding or technology or other things. And if I start to compare myself with them, if I start to look and say their identity is my identity, or that's what I need to be able to be successful in this, I lose something in myself. We were literally just talking about this as a staff, how when I do challenges and when I do competitions inside of those challenges, and when I teach those things and the concepts to students, I can do it. I can do the technical stuff. I can do all those things, but that's not where the genius lies. My genius lies in helping others overcome, explaining it in a way that's simplified, helping them to see how they can progress, giving them the confidence, the encouragement, the ability to go do the thing that maybe they haven't felt like they could go do, going beyond the limit that they have. Because the reality is, I know we've been at this long enough. I've seen people come through my courses, my trainings, and all the things, just like AI Authority Engine right now, eForge right now. I've seen people come through these training programs, and the thing that's holding them back is because they're trying to be somebody that they're not. Maybe they're trying to do it like I do it, or like somebody else that they've seen on a YouTube video, or they've seen somewhere else or heard a podcast, right? And they're like, you've got to do it this way, and you got to say it this way, and you've got to go through this routine, and you got to wake up in the morning and do this. I've never had a morning routine in my life, and we've been pretty successful. That's just not something that I felt like that I ever had to go do. We've never chased the fancy cars and the big houses and that kind of thing. That hasn't been our focus. Our focus has been ministry work. Our focus has been taking care of our family, health issues that we've been taking care of. Our focus has been working with college ministries or ministries in general. Our focus has been being able to have the freedom, both time and resources, to be able to pour into the things that we want to do. That's been our focus. That's what we're about. And that's what my audience, I think, resonates with me on, is they're about the same thing. They want to grow the kingdom. They want to do things that are going to matter in their community, with their family, those kinds of things. And when we step out of that and we start to try to live or be like somebody else that we see online, especially in the guru world. I used to think that maybe I needed to go rent the car or buy the house or buy the car or take certain types of imagery or pictures or videos, or I had to dress like some of these guys do that have success in this industry. And I just chose not to. In fact, you know the funny thing, one of the things that's been the most popular thing for me and is actually it's kind of funny, but it's actually attracted the most clients is things where I've been fly fishing, literally out in the middle of a river with my fly gear on. I'm in waders. I've got my fly rod. I'm just out in the river fishing and talking about what it's like to be a Christian, what it's like to have fished all day without catching anything, and what it's like to just trust in God and how we've used our businesses in a way that allows us to go do that. So, my question to you would be, what gifts has God given you? What opportunities are in front of you? What are the things that you feel like you're chasing when the things that maybe come really natural to you are really the giftings and the things that you should be pushing into and the things that you should be doing in your business. And maybe the business that you started or built, maybe that's not the business, or maybe it doesn't look the way that other people's businesses do. I'll give you a good example. When I was starting out in this business, uh, lead generation and marketing and online marketing, all of that was fairly new 12 years ago in the way that we were doing it. And so there really wasn't very many people doing it. So we didn't really have a whole lot of people to look at and go, yeah, that's what it should look like, or any of that. I had actually outgrown the coaches that I had. I'd outgrown the other people in the group very quickly because we hit some major accounts. We God just blessed our business incredibly, and all of a sudden we had big accounts and we had a lot of revenue coming through the business. At that time, there wasn't anybody to look at and compete with or compare to. And it's kind of interesting because back then we were just kind of trailblazing as we went, and I had nothing to compare to. Now, you look around everywhere and somebody's doing lead generation or marketing or AI SEO or whatever, and it's kind of fascinating to watch because there's all these different personalities and all these different kinds of people that are doing it. And the reality is we all have different, very different looking businesses. Uh, I had Karen Hyde on the other day on the podcast, which you guys haven't listened to that, make sure and go back and listen to that call. It's very telling what she's doing with the free testing that she's doing for entrepreneurs to show them their spiritual gifts. Highly suggest you go take that test because it's helped me to see kind of where my gifting lies is what I've always thought. And so when I push into that, I don't have to go be like somebody else's agency. I don't have the business doesn't have to look that way. So some agencies are really focused on certain, maybe certain markets or certain niches. Some agencies are focused on certain types of work inside of that business. Like I'm never going to be the guy that's going to come in and figure out all of the newest AI tricks and agents and all that stuff. I can do it, and we're doing it inside of our agency, and we're teaching it, and I'm showing and we're going to be selling some of that. But I'm not going to be the guy that's going to spend the next 48 hours staying up working with bots and agents and programs and figuring out. So that's just not me. It's not who I am. What I can do is take those principles and those pieces of the puzzle and put them together in a way that maybe somebody else hasn't thought about, and piece them together in a way and bring it to the marketplace and make it palatable for the marketplace in a way that just makes sense. I was talking to one of our clients today, and one of the things that we were chatting about was she has financial planners that she's working with inside of her business. And the financial planners aren't entrepreneurs in a like not really. They don't own other businesses. And so they're looking at everything through just the lens of what they do, how they respond and how they see the world, their knowledge, their experiences, all this stuff that they're doing, which is great. The problem is she's looking at it through the entrepreneurial lens. She's looking at it through risk taking. She's looking at it through growth. She's looking at it through, I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to invest in me. I'm going to go out there and take, instead of getting a 10% return or 15% return or whatever, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do a 300% return because I'm going to go invest in this business and I'm going to bank on the fact that I can grow it and I can do all these things with it. That's very different. And so this, if if she was just going off of this one advisor, these financial advisors that she had, she would play the safe route, but that's not her. That's not who she is. She needs to go be the person that she is and go down the path that she wants to take and take the risks and buy the businesses and start doing the real estate transactions and do the other things that they've already leaned into. Look, David wasn't Moses. Moses wasn't Joseph. Joseph wasn't Paul. You just look at the disciples and they're all different. They're all uniquely gifted and uniquely them. And each one plays a critical part in spreading the kingdom and the gospel and sharing all of that with the world. And so why you're looking at your business and how you're looking at your business and what you're doing to make money right now, it may need to look different than what it is. We had students here not too long ago doing an eForge regional event. We brought them in, had a sales training, did a competition, did a bunch of fun stuff, did a bunch of learning, and ate a lot of great food and just had fun. We had a good time. And one of the interesting parts was one of the students came in and he thought he had to go be that salesperson and sell agency work and all that stuff. And I was like, no, man, if that's not you, he's really geared towards teaching and having that kind of relationship as a student teacher relationship with people to help them as business owners to grow their business. That's what he really wants to do. And so we talked about how do you push into that gifting that you have, that wiring that you have, so that you not only are great at what you do, but you love what you do. It doesn't exhaust you. The very things that probably exhaust you in your business right now, you need to hand off, man. Those are things like if you haven't read Buy Back Your Time or any of those Who Not How, those are both great books to start making you think differently about how you see life, how you see the business, and how you see what you're doing inside of the business. When I stay in my lane, when I'm the guy doing the very thing that I'm doing right now, podcasting, marketing through maybe lives or through my social media, if I'm on a stage somewhere speaking, if I'm out in the public, shaking hands and meeting people and talking to people and just sharing what we do. And we really see it as service. I see it as serving people and teaching them what we do. When we do those things and we're not forcing, I'm not trying to force myself into a box or into a certain kind of way of doing it or a certain kind of way of pitching it or whatever, we get business and the business grows and things just continue to flourish. And when I'm not living in that and I start to go down another path and maybe I get caught up in the techie stuff or I get caught up in trying to do a bunch of research on something that's just not my thing or I get caught up trying to do accounting or something like that that just I'm just not wired to do. It just exhausts me. It exhausts me. And we need to go find the who's to replace that, right? Which is the whole buy back your time and the whole who not how, the whole thing. Those both of those books work kind of hand in hand in the way they work. So if nobody could see your success right now, would you still be pursuing the path that you're on, the business that you're on, the way that you're doing things? Because sometimes the thing that we're chasing isn't purpose, it's validation. We're trying to become somebody that we're not. We're trying to identify as something that we're not. It took me a while when we shifted from ministry to business. I was Cory, the youth minister, or Cory, the CEO of the children's home, or Cory, the minister, pastor, preacher, I don't know, whatever title you wanted to put on me. That's who I was. And now all of a sudden I came over here and said, hey, I can do marketing for you and I can help you do lead generation and I can help you grow your business and do all this stuff when I'd only seen myself as this guy. Now, what happened was is I shifted that gear as I went from ministry to the marketing business. I found myself giving away services all the time. I found myself losing money all the time. I found myself spending way more time than I need to with clients. I found myself doing all those things because that's what I'd done in ministry. I just worked. I worked all the time. I didn't know any different. I was available all the time. I served all the time. I helped all the time, right? Because that's what I did in ministry. I brought that same thing to business. The only problem was is I wasn't making any money. I was giving up all my time. I was struggling. I was worn out. I just was beat at the end of the day. And I learned that I needed to start building some boundaries and I needed to start working with clients that were willing to pay me for the not not just the knowledge, but the results that we were bringing them. I talked to a client today that she's so happy with what we're doing because we've literally gone in and made her business and her husband famous in their market for what they do. And they're seeing it. They're seeing the return on their end through the AI SEO that we're doing for them. They're seeing business pickup. They're looking at expanding to other markets. They're looking at expanding to other states. They're wanting to take over 2 or 3 states for what they do. And I'm like, I'm your man. I can help you do that. We can help you. Our agency can literally help you do that. So I would ask you, like, what would happen if you stopped competing? What would happen if you stopped measuring yourself against somebody else that's not you, that's not your identity, it's not your gifting? What would happen if you fully embraced the gifts that God gave you? Not somebody else, but you, not the Dan Martells, not the Alex Hormozis, not the Tony Robbins or the Myron Goldens, or pick one, Brendan Burchard, pick anybody that you follow right now online. Not those guys, not your competitors, because let's just be honest. Like, if we're doing a good job at what we do, we have no competition. I really feel like we have no competition in the market with our AI SEO that we do right now. Not that there's not other people doing it, but we do things in a way that makes it very unique to our client. And we have a very unique relationship with the clients that we have. So what do you bring? What is your gift, your identity? What are the things that make you uniquely you? Because God gifted you in a way that no one else on this earth is gifted, not in the unique nuances and the things that make you you. People who create the greatest impact aren't usually the people trying to copy somebody else. They're really, truly the people that are fully operating in who God created them to be. I think sometimes we're scared to be that. And sometimes we take those things for granted that we do so well. So one of the questions I would ask you right now is, what are things that right now people compliment you and say, "Man, that looks so easy for you," or "Man, you're so good at that," or that was such great advice," or maybe you just came off of a stage and people are going, "Man, that was such a great talk," or "That was such a great whatever it is," or maybe you help somebody with numbers or finances or whatever it is, and they were like, "Man, you explained that so well or so simply," or maybe you gave a better report or a better whatever solution or a better, I don't know, maybe you did contractor work or whatever for somebody and they're like, man, I love the fact that you guys were here on time. You did it on budget and you actually cleaned up after yourself. Like you have a high standard. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what it is for you, but what would it be? What would your identity be if you pushed into what God called you to be? And that was your assignment. That's what you were supposed to do. Like, when we start living inside of that, it gives us peace, it gives us confidence, it gives us the direction that we need to head so fast, so we don't get bogged down by the noisiness that's happening out in the world, whether it's social media or you can't drive down the road right now without seeing a bazillion whatever ads for billboards and this and that and whatever. It's just kinda nutty what all's out there. So we don't go chase the wrong thing or the wrong business or the wrong thing that doesn't even fit who we are. I've met some very miserable entrepreneurs that have a ton of money, but they're miserable people because they've tried to fit themselves into something else. It's not even who they are. It's not how they were built. It's not what they were built for, designed for, wired for, none of that. God never called you to become somebody else. He never asked you to copy their story. He never asked you to chase their assignment. He never asked you to carry their burdens. He asked you to steward yours. So, some of you listening today probably need permission. This is something that we just don't realize. We don't give ourselves permission to be truly who God created us to be, and we don't give ourselves permission to stop comparing ourselves to others. So stop trying to chase something that you're not. Stop trying to be somebody that you're not. Be uniquely you, and give yourself permission to go all in on that. One of the things that we used to think was broken within us, my wife and I moved a lot through the years. When we started doing ministry work, we'd move every 2 to 3 years. And I looking back, I saw the pattern. I saw the pattern of, which is one of the unique gifts that God has given me. I can see patterns in the way things are done. A lot of times that's why the marketing that we brought to the table and we brought to our clients, one of the reasons why it works a lot of times is because I can see patterns of things that I don't know, it's just uniquely something that I see. And one of the patterns that we saw with what we were doing is I would come in and help get a ministry up and running. Usually something had happened within the ministry. It needed some help. It needed some guidance. It needed to be built back up. It needed some healthiness that maybe it didn't have. It maybe needed to heal for a while from some past hurts or some things that happened with other ministers or staff or whatever it might be. And we would get it built back up. And once it was built back up, I felt like I needed to go do it again. But I didn't realize at the time that's what I was doing. I just thought we were just moving every 2 or 3 years. I thought, well, something broke within me, when the reality was that I felt like it was another adventure. It was another thing for me to go help somebody else. Once I got it to a certain point, I wasn't, I didn't enjoy as much keeping it there. I wanted to go build something else. I wanted to grow something else. I wanted to go do something else. Maybe some of you resonate with that. If you do, drop a comment. I would love to hear from you. Like, maybe that's the version that God created you to be, was the person that goes and helps to build and rebuild something. I'm a really fast starter with businesses and ideas and concepts and all. Like, that's one of the things that I've done. If you guys have never taken the Colby A test, I would highly suggest that. It's one of the very first tests that Dan Sullivan makes you take if you're going to work with him in his coaching program, is that Colby A test. And it shows what you're doing. And for me, it's like I'm a major fast starter. Like, you give me an idea, I'm going to go do the thing. I don't have to have all the information. I don't need to connect all the dots. I don't need all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. I don't need all of that. You just give me the basic concept, and I can see the impact or the growth that's there, and I'll just go do it. I don't need all the other stuff. But that's also uniquely me in the sense that I don't like the back end of that. I love getting started. I love building the business. I love getting it up. I love fixing the thing and growing it and all that. And we've taken businesses from 7,000 a month to 100K plus a month. We've done all kinds of things with different businesses through the years. We've taken our businesses to millions of dollars. We ran 12 to 15 million through just a couple of online businesses that we have in just the last 5, 6 years. And it's kind of nuts when you look at what we've been able to do in a short amount of time, but it's because I enjoy that piece of it. But I didn't see that before in ministry. It took me going after and looking at it to see it. So if you really pushed into what God created you to do, like, what would the world look like around you? What kind of impact could you make? Because the world needs that version of you. They don't need the Hormozy version or the Tony Robbins version or the whatever version. They need you, uniquely you. God created you to do something that's totally different than what everybody else that he created to do. So what is that? What have you been uniquely created to do? Take an inventory, look at yourself, ask yourself. If you don't know, ask people around you, hey, what do I do that's kind of uniquely me? What makes me me? Ask the people that know you the best. Be okay with the feedback that you get. And maybe it might even be something that you haven't even paid attention to because it comes so natural to you, so easy to you that you're like, well, everybody must be able to do that. That's probably your gifting. That's probably where the opportunity lies. That's probably where your assignment has been given. You just haven't fully walked into that yet. Clarity is going to come from you spending the time digging into this, because once you figure that thing out, and once you know what that is, it makes things so much clearer, so much easier, so much happier, so much more peace, so much everything. The bank account looks better, everything else looks better, because you start to see where you line up with what you need to be, and your identity that becomes what God created you to be instead of something else. So I would be curious, like, what is it? What is it for you? Drop a comment, whatever platform that you're reading or listening or seeing this on, drop a comment. Leave a comment with, "Hey, I feel like God's called me to do this. I feel like God's called me maybe to go plan a ministry or a nonprofit or start this thing in my community or help my family to do this or leave a legacy for my grandkids, or maybe God's called me to build this big business because he wants me to use the resources to be able to go do these other things and build these schools or hospitals or do all this stuff." I don't know. Whatever it is that God's called you to go do, I would be very curious. I would love to hear it. Love to hear what that is for you. Look, if this has resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel that you're on, whether it's Spotify or Apple or YouTube, whatever the channel is. We're on everything, every platform for podcasts. And leave a review. Like, leave some, if this it resonated with you and you're like, man, yeah, that's me. Leave a review. I would love to get the reviews, and I would love to hear from you to know. Like, is what you're doing right now even what God gifted you and called you to go do? Because if it's not, why are you doing it? We only get one shot at this thing. We get one shot at this thing. We have a certain amount of time, a finite amount of time that we have on this earth. What are we going to use it for? The last thing that I want to do is to get to 70, 80, 90 years old and look back and go, man, I wish I would have. I have no desire to do that. I would rather run hard, fell fast, fall on my face, and get up and do it again. I would rather to push into the giftings that I'd have. I'd rather have to start over 10 times than go, man, I wish I would have tried that or done that, or I wish I would have invested in that, or I would have started that, or I don't want to do that. I'd rather just go do it all. I'd just rather go do it all. So leave a comment. Let me know. Till next Thursday, keep forging forward, stay aligned with your calling, and build with clarity, confidence, and conviction, because this is the forge where leaders are made and legacies are built.